Hey guys, MoiDawg here, and today we've got a brand new update to Squad, V4.2. Now, I've had a couple videos already on the new microtransactions and emotes that have been added to the game, but in this video, we'll not only actually showcase each and every emote to see if it is worth your money, but we'll also be going over all the other patch notes and discussing how this update is holding up since, well, let's just say there are definitely some problems with 4.2 that are causing a lot of people headaches, and wait, we no longer have legs? Yeah, so there's actually a lot of other things to unpack in this update, but let's just dive right into it and start out with the controversial content, emotes, and paid DLC. Now when you start the game, which if you didn't notice will completely reset your cache, so do make sure to go back and fix all your settings to how you like it, you will see a pop-up for the free recruit pack being added to your inventory. This is the new batch of free content added in 4.2, and the other items, the Grunt and R&R Pack, will both cost you $3.99 on the Steam store. Now full disclosure, as a squad partner, I did receive these two paid packs for free. However, this video is in no way sponsored or endorsed by OWI and Squad, and I have not been forced to say anything positive, or I guess negative, regarding them. To find these emotes, you'll go to the brand new Customize tab on the main menu, and here you'll not only be able to view each and every item, but you can then also assign them to the new emote menu, usable while in game. Simply click on which one you want, pick a spot on the radial wheel, and then click again to confirm the location. When in game, you can then open the menu by the default button X, which you can rebind in the settings menu, and do what you want. First, these are the items you'll receive for free as an owner of Squad. These are included in the base game now, and they're quote-unquote inventory items, meaning that everyone will always be able to have access to them. You have Wave, Point Forward, and Move Out. You will also receive the free recruit pack, which will be claimed when you start the game. This includes Salute, Shrug, Come Here, and Thumbs Up. For $3.99, you can also purchase the Grunt Pack, which includes the following: Slow Clap, Horns, Finger Snap, Fist and Palm, which is an exclusive to the PLA faction, and High Ready. Finally, for $3.99 as well, you can also purchase the R&R Pack, which includes Facepalm, Finger Wag, Applause, Shh, and Hang Loose. Now, anything that will cause your player model to actually swap to the third person view can only be used while at the main base or during staging phase. And you'll notice that if you try and use it outside of main, you simply won't have that option to be clicked. As you can see here, I'm outside of the main base protection, allowing me to fire my weapon, and I can no longer use the third person emotes. I just go a few steps backwards into protection and they're usable again. Additionally, what I really do like is that you don't have to leave your game to customize this radial wheel. For example, I'm on the PLA now, so if I do want to use that exclusive emote while I'm actually as that faction, I just go back to the emote wheel, click on customize, and then add it, and I can use it while I'm PLA. Next round, if I'm not PLA, just take it off and I have that space back. Now, whether you like this content or not, this is a really nice addition for general quality of life when it comes to customizing emotes and gestures. Now, one small complaint, we actually have a lot of emotes, and I know you kind of just want to pick and choose so you can add them to the radial menu, but it would be cool if we essentially had like a folder system where the third person emotes can be in one folder and the non-third person can be in the other, and you can just have them all in one go. We already have this system in place for squad leaders when you want to build fobs and do different emplacements, so I don't really see why we couldn't include it here. So overall, I actually think these are pretty nice, harmless additions. The hand gestures are personally my favorite, specifically the things like point and horn, since they add a little bit of flavor to your character when you're playing around in game. But the third person emotes really aren't my thing. Now, I can definitely see why some people would like them, but if you're just doing them in staging phase, okay, it's a very limited time and place to use them. I think it is a relatively harmless addition in itself, but if you've seen my other videos on this, you'll know that I am extremely concerned that we've just opened the Pandora's box on microtransactions in Squad. I would honestly love to be proven wrong in a couple years when we don't have paid maps or anything like that, but I am always hesitant when it comes to paid DLC. Now, moving on from the emotes and monetization, a lot of 4.2 is actually performance improvements and bug fixing. Now, for the most part, a lot of these bug fixes are probably things you didn't even realize were a problem, but some of the bigger fixes include the rangefinder bug for the Chinese hat, which now lets you practice using the PF98's laser rangefinder on the offline training range, a fix which added a missing ammo rack component to the Chinese ZTZ99 tank, and thankfully some fixes for a few common server disconnect issues. For performance, OWI has updated Squad to run on Unreal V 4.27. This is a big engine update. And it's also something that you might not even realize happened, but you will notice that in the settings menu, you can now see a brand new renderer section asking if you would like to use DirectX 12 or 11. This is purely up to you and your own computer, and I wish I could have a better way to explain if you should or shouldn't use DirectX 12 right now, but to be honest, there are so many issues with it that experiences seem to really vary wildly between users. My personal recommendation, if you have a PC that is fairly new, think within the past 2 to 3 years, try it out. I haven't had too much of an issue using it, and I believe my game is running great. I think I'm getting improved frames and I'm not running into any weird bugs, but some other players are complaining that DirectX 12 is making Squad almost unplayable, while others can't even get the game started once they've selected it. If all else fails, uninstall the game, reinstall, and then just keep your selection on DirectX 11. You will also see a brand new section titled AMD FidelityFX Super Resolution 2. Despite this name having AMD in it, this can actually be used on all graphics cards, and the quick and dirty explanation is essentially if you've been required to lower your graphics settings because of your resolutions, for example moving settings down to a medium in order to play in 1440p, you should be able to see much better frame rates. I would love to hear if this setting has helped you, since after playing around with it a bit myself, I actually found that the quality setting and sliding sharpness all the way up to 1.0 not only made the game look much better for me, but I also seemed to get over 20 more frames. There's a whole blog post on this graphics card black magic that is FidelityFX Super Resolution 2, and I've posted that link in the description below, but I don't want to get lost in the weeds on that, so if you do want to read all the in-depth reasons of why it's working or maybe not working, please check it out. Additionally, if you do use it and you get good things or you get bad things, please post down in the comments below because I really need to see what type of settings are working for your builds. Honestly, it's starting to look like sometime in the next couple months, I'll actually have to do a completely new graphics settings guide for Squad, so all input is appreciated. And finally, we've also had a new ocean tab in the graphics settings menu with ocean quality and wake simulation. Wake simulation appears to be the actual wake of either a boat or amphibious vehicle, and as you can see here, by turning it on, we now have that visible white foam wake trailing behind the boat as I move around. Frame-wise, it seems like this might cost you about 5 to 7 frames depending on your rig, and it's not that big of a visual difference, or at least I don't think it is. Personally, I might try to record some eye in the sky games with this on just to see if it looks good, but I do think the waves look a little bit more like an oil slick than a real wake at times. So really this whole thing is completely a personal preference. Overall, the Unreal Engine upgrade should help the devs improve the graphics and performance over time, and I've seen some really good performance bumps on my own rig. But this is entirely build dependent, and as I mentioned previously, quite a few players now see their performance worse than before. If you're one of those players, try the following. If you have a graphics card that is greater than 4 gigs of VRAM, then make sure that uncapped texture pool size is off. Do not click this. This setting is purely for extremely old graphics cards to help them load textures, and if you select this with a more modern GPU like a 1080, 2070, or 3090, you're going to actually run into huge performance issues, hitching, and even crashing. A word of warning, if you do the NVIDIA control panel game optimization thing, this actually has a tendency to auto-select uncapped texture pool size for you, since the program thinks this is good for your graphic settings. So regardless of your GPU, if you auto-optimize, go back in and make sure this is unchecked. If you are still running into issues, I'd highly recommend watching through my complete graphics setting guide I released last year, since it is still relevant and is only missing the 3 options we just discussed here. Now, apart from players having poor performance, Squad V4.2 has actually had another surprise negative side effect. Many servers have actually reduced their player count from 100 players down to 80. A whole bunch of random guesswork is now going on to try and find the sweet spot that doesn't kill server performance. If you've been playing on my server community, the Potato Fields, and noticed that there is now an 80 player cap, well, this is why. 100 players for whatever reason is causing incredibly poor server tick rate, making it so players will experience significant rubber banding, teleporting, and ghost shots. There's currently no ETA on when this will be fixed, but the devs are at least aware of it, so hopefully we can get back to 100 player battles that are stable soon enough. What really bums me out about this is not just that we're losing 20 players, but we're losing 20 players on games that are balanced towards 100 player servers. By removing a whole squad on each side, we're really messing with how the games will play out. We'll have less vehicles, maybe you remove a whole bunch of infantry support, whatever it is, it just won't play as well as it used to, and it really just won't play as well as it's meant to. So I really hope OWI prioritizes this and fixes it as soon as possible. Oh, and I did mention this as a little joke in the intro, but somehow the player models did get updated to not include legs, which makes for a really disorienting view when looking down. Oddly enough, you can actually see your legs when running and kind of playing around with your field of view, but just barely. So I'm not sure if some camera angle was tweaked when the engine was upgraded, but personally I like to see my legs back since right now it just looks like we're all Naruto running. But inside the graphics updates and problems with those graphics updates, there is still a little bit more in 4.2. First off, the US Army has had a complete visual overhaul with new player models and updated uniforms and camo. Most importantly, the woodland version no longer sticks out like a sore thumb. This has really been overdue, and I think the US Army now looks much more like a game that's being developed in 2023. And if you are observant, you also might have noticed that the M17 pistol has also had a complete remodel. For gameplay, HAB spawn activation delay timers have been increased from 20 seconds to 30 seconds. This is both for the initial delay when you first build the HAB, as well as if the radio gets dug down or the HAB gets overrun and you clear it. It might not seem like a lot, but this will be a pretty big game changer for both attackers and defenders, and you'll have to be much better at protecting the area around your HAB in future games, as well as attacking these HABs with a group. Finally, a new seeding layer, Mutaha Seed V1, between the US Marine Corps and Russia has been added, and the ZSL10 APC for China has had its gunner mags increased from 2 to 10. But that's about it. Overall, it's a pretty big performance update, although I know many people may be distracted by the emotes, so do let me know your thoughts on whether any of these settings has helped or hurt your frames. And now that paid DLC is actually in game, has this been as oppressive to you as you first thought? Are emotes ruining any game experiences, or is it actually kind of okay? Let me know in the comments below, and if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. But that's it for me. Until next time, peace.